Hello and welcome. Today I have what I like to call my annual crafting video. I have done, I would say, a couple of these embroidery with me style videos in the past. This actually might look familiar to you if you've seen a previous embroidery video of mine. Yes, I still haven't finished my autumnal scene here. I think it was around the pandemic when I ordered a few of these embroidery kits, and it was during like the holiday season. And I think I just prefer to pick it up around this time of year, which is why I haven't finished it. It's also a very busy time of year, typically for me, just with work and other engagements that I have, so I'm not in any rush to finish it speedily. So it's taken me maybe a couple seasons to get through this, but I usually love to embroider while watching a show or something holiday related, and of course this is autumn themed, so maybe Gilmore Girls or anything like that would be something I would watch while sewing this, essentially. We'll see if I can do another one for Christmas, since I do have a few Christmas ones, but I think I'm very close to finishing this one, and I think that it would be really cool for me to finish it with you, if possible. Maybe we'll see how far we get. And in a way, this is sort of the theme for the video, of slowing down, taking things more slowly, savoring them. And while someone might be maybe not like me and want to rush to finish something like this, I have not felt rushed to get through this. So I usually thread the needle by just feeding the strand in, so one end is hanging off. You could knot it though, but I knot mine differently, so you might see that. Anyways, I should stop gabbing and start sewing. I have the little packet here that came with my kit. I got, again, a few years ago on Amazon, so not sure if it's still available, but it comes with a step-by-step guide. It shows you the different colored string, which is in the little envelope, and the type of stitch, which, you know, you can kind of finesse. It's not too intricate, thankfully. I'm realizing I need to finish this yellow as well, but maybe I'll leave that at the very end. Okay, so I'm going to first stitch from behind. I'm doing like the branches, and I'm going to pull just until a little bit is left there, the tail, and then I'm going to do a little stitch, and when I pull through, technically I've already done it, but I loop it through the loop that's here, so it's kind of around it like that. Then I just pull and it knots. Just going to continue to most crafty in the holiday season. I don't know if anyone feels the same. I like these kits because I just feel like I get to just follow the steps and not really have to think too hard, which is nice. But you could also freestyle it if that is something you are interested in. So, what have I been up to? I have actually been pretty busy, but not necessarily only work related, which is nice. I feel like that's generally what we feel makes us busy. It's funny because I want to say back in like August, September, mainly September, I want to say, I did this fun experiment, which I'll share with you. So on TikTok, someone mentioned how you could ask ChatGPT to describe your dream life if you gave it all the details of like what that dream life looked like and describe what that day in the life looks like. So I did that, and it was very eye-opening and very cool to kind of see what that type of life would look like. And then I followed up with a question to ask it, what do I need to do on like a daily basis to achieve that dream life? So as you can imagine, it obviously gave some tips, not necessarily broken down by like hour by hour. I'm sure it could have done that, but I didn't ask it to. But it gave me tips in general of like what to focus on, which I found really cool. And one of the things in my dream life was being able to have a community of people I felt connected to around me, whether that was my neighbors or friends, just locally to me. And definitely that type of like physical connection to people where you can like see them in person, which is important, but also I'm not disregarding any long distance friendships, but mainly in-person connections is definitely what I was envisioning. And one of the top tips that ChatGPT told me was to nurture my relationships and focus on, growing relationships. So, obviously that's a given, right? But I think just seeing that reiterated really rang a bell in me, if you will, kind of gave me clarity on something I had been struggling with for a long, long time, which is loneliness. And the type of loneliness where, yes, I do have a husband who I love dearly and honestly was totally content with him being like the only person in the world I needed to connect with. But that's quite a bit of pressure, if you can imagine, on one person to be kind of your everything. I used to have community a long time ago, almost a decade ago, but sort of fell out with a lot of people due to just different life circumstances. There's no ill will or anything, it just sort of happens like that sometimes, but it was pretty I don't like to use this trivially, but it was traumatizing. So just know I don't say that lightly. It was enough to make me want to essentially be a hermit for the rest of my life because of the pain of losing so many people I loved because of sort of things I felt were a little outside my control at the time. And trying to replenish those relationships just wouldn't work with where I'm at now. I'm just a very different person, believe very different things, and it just wouldn't work the way it used to. So I spent the last several years really being just okay on my own. Go to work, be in my relationship, be with my family, my immediate family, and that's all I really need to contribute to. But I would say in this past year or two, I've felt, and I have always felt, the desire to still connect with people. I just think most recently, the last 2 years, it's been a bit stronger, and I've had more motivation to explore what that looks like for me. And I don't know if you may have heard of this saying before, but it's, if you want to have a friend, you need to be a friend. And I understood that intellectually, but I think only just recently did it really just click for me that I truly will never have this community I imagine having unless I am that community for someone else. I think unfortunately, our culture in America specifically is very individualistic, and we also, I think, have a lot of fear burdening other people with our, I don't know, emotions or just like presence. Like, we never want to really inconvenience anyone, and we're just very careful, or at least most of us, I would say. But I think that was a big thing, is I didn't want to inconvenience or make someone feel like they owed me anything. Like, if I gave them a gift or if I did a gesture, like it was transactional. I wanted it to feel unconditional, not transactional. And I also am not someone who wants to make friends to sort of play Pokemon in that sense and collect them all. I'm not someone who wants a lot of friends for the sake of having a lot of friends and all that. I just want quality connections, and I don't really care about how many that adds up to at the end of the day. Of course, the more the merrier, because I think that you can have relationships of all kinds. Not everyone needs to fulfill every area. I think you can have connections with people that are super, serve a function, if you will. And it doesn't need to be like crazy deep. A lot of my fear of building more community and connections is the fear of losing everyone again in my future. Basically rebuilding and then having to kind of go through that loss. But I will say it's not really great to be on the other side when you're lonely and have no one to lose, but it's still pretty empty and sad. Not to discourage anyone who is maybe more lonely right now, and that's your season. I had to have my season, and I think I might have more in the future, but yeah, I think just that lesson of to have a friend is to be a friend is really just struck through to me in a meaningful way. And I'm motivated and prepared emotionally and physically to show up in those ways. So I would say since October, I joined a book club earlier this year that really helped me feel motivated to maintain and nurture connections. And I would say in the past month, I've decided, 2 months really, I was like, okay, the book club is working, but now I know I need to put in that effort to, message people one-on-one, ask them out to a friend date, essentially, and make sure they know I'm interested and that I'm, being thoughtful and want to, get to know them more. So I've gone on a few friend dates, which has been fun. I've had dinner with people. I've had, almost every weekend for the last few weeks, I've had one type of social engagement. And I've really just started saying yes to sort of opening my schedule up more and being okay with that. I do feel like I don't get to do as much as what I used to in terms of free time, but I also feel like I'm spending my time differently in a way that is more fulfilling, because I do feel like otherwise I would just be scrolling TikTok, and there's only so much I really want to be consuming. At the end of the day, I'd rather be spending it with other people, and it just feels a bit more enriching after hanging out with someone versus scrolling my TikTok, Not that TikTok is bad, but it's just doing it all the time feels like it's getting old for me. So I've gone to, and I've also been wanting to do things that are not expensive because I want to save money, and I'm cognizant other people don't have, all the money in the world to be just going out to eat all the time or whatnot. So I've grabbed coffee and we've gone to the park to hang out with one friend. We did a few brunches. I'm now at a place where I think I might just be willing to open up my home more to people and be less concerned about the state of my home. Not that it's terrible, it's just I get really shy and insecure about every little dust bunny that ever existed, even though I definitely clean a lot, especially if a guest comes over. But I think I just get hung up on the imperfections, and it freezes me from wanting people to be over in our space. But if you think about it, hanging out in someone's home is honestly really inexpensive. If, again, it's not like a fancy party. And I do feel like the best times I've had with people in my past have been hanging out at their space and just laughing and playing games and making food together. It was more meaningful than fancy dinners and brunches all the time, although those are fun. And I still love to do events and go out and all that, but yeah, I definitely think that I envision having a home where people feel welcomed. I don't know that I necessarily want to be the most, frequent hostess, but I definitely think I am open to the possibilities of hosting more. Okay, so I'm done with my brown already, with my branches. So I'm going to move on to the orange leaves next. Okay, we're back. And I have my orange that I'm going to be using. It's like a light orange. I'm just going to make sure I loop it. I'm going to loop it between this loop so that I can knot it. Okay. Anyway, so definitely have been just reaching one-on-one out to people, asking them to hang out, being specific about, you know, the options I'm thinking of, and I go out of my way to just make sure people know, you know, what I'm thinking, and also give them the opportunity to give any feedback. Like if they want to do something else or have another idea, I'm open to it. I offer ideas for places to eat since I'm the one who asked them, I feel like that's appropriate to like give ideas instead of leaving it up to them, unless they have a specific place they want to go. But I will say that one thing about feeling like it's easier to ask people to hang out is because I've known some of these people for a little while. So for example, at my book club, some of the girls I've seen for a few months already and I've had, you know, short conversations with. Or coworkers of mine. Although I have been trying to branch outside of just seeing my coworkers because I see them every day, but that doesn't mean I still can't be like fostering a friendship, I feel. And I have some long distance friends that I've known for a while but maybe haven't spent as much time one-on-one with or hung out a dedicated time with. And yeah, I think that it's a mix of, you know, new people, people I've known for a little while, which just goes to show you can decide to be a friend at any point in time. I don't think people are going to be as mystified as you think they might be. I think, if anything, they'll be maybe interested into why you're suddenly interested. So, I feel like I just undid previous stitch, so I'm going to try that again. So, suffice to say, that has been my focus and taking up time, but in a good way, it's taking up my time. I do feel this sense of guilt that I'm not focusing on like a lot of creative pursuits of mine. But another thing in tandem with wanting to nurture relationships this year, and that being a goal of mine, has been just my values have been changing around what I value and what I aspire to have in my life. Of course, like everyone else, we want our basic needs met, but amongst that, I've noticed this shift where I don't really want like a lot of money and a lot of like legacy projects of mine. Like I don't, like fame and fortune aren't as glamorous, I feel. I mean, not that I was ever really hoping to be a millionaire kind of thing. I don't think I ever really wanted that, but I think in your 20s you feel this sense of, you know, like you have to really prove yourself and make a name for yourself, especially if you go to college. It's very much ingrained in you to be somebody and of value and of worth in like a monetary and career way. But as I've gotten older, I've seen people rise to the top, and there's just nothing in me that really desires to be like the greatest of all time, really, of a particular thing. I just feel like even the people who are famous for inventing really amazing things sort of stumble upon those things in an effort to like make change in the world. But yeah, I just simply don't want to be focusing a lot of my time on building things that I don't really feel are valuable to me. I feel like relationships are valuable to me, the people around me are valuable and worth so much more than what's in the bank account, kind of thing. Again, noting that basic needs are met. I do feel very grateful that I have, I'm okay right now. Not that it's always like that, but I'm okay. And also I know in hard times, I do want people around me. So I just see the value and worth in investing time into others, maybe even money. Not that it's a lot of money, but just maybe a little bit. If I give a gift to someone, or just eat with someone out somewhere, or spend money making food for them, really doesn't, in my opinion, take too much if you focus on the investing of the relationship. And I don't necessarily worry about like how fancy these outings are. It's more just the quality of the time together and that we're both enjoying ourselves. So, yeah, I've just, in tandem with nurturing relationships, have cared less about being the best at something, which I never really thought I was the best at something, but I do feel like career-wise it's made me less anxious in that area and worried about proving myself. I just feel like I have a whole life to live to do all the things I get to do, and again, other things matter a bit more to me right now. I listened to, I think it was like a YouTube podcast, something like that, of Simon Sinek, if you've heard of him. He kind of talks a lot about like the workplace and being a leader, but also has shifted a lot recent years, about just relationships and humanity. So that has been interesting to just, because I don't feel like a lot of people care about corporate dynamics anymore. People just care about like human life. And there was one thing he said about this talk, this podcast interview he was doing about relationships. Maybe I'll link it below, but he said something that really struck me, and it was the metric of how productive you are in a day shouldn't be the primary metric of what makes a good day. And that really spoke to me. Like, if you make the primary metric of having a good day being how productive you are, that's not the case. In fact, there's so many other metrics, if you will. I know I'm using corporate talk right now. There's so many other measures of having a good day or a good life that don't mean being productive or being a workhorse. And that just really spoke to me. Like, oh yeah, having a good day or having a good life doesn't always mean I need to be working my butt off to prove I can have the house sparkling clean and have, done all my creative projects and worked out and ate perfectly and worked perfectly. And I think that there are other, to his point, measures of a good life that don't just mean being productive. And that just really spoke to me. And I know that right now you can see some of the little strings in the back, but it's fine, whatever. And then it got me thinking, what are the other things that make up a good life, a good day? And again, it kind of points me back to the people in my life. And yes, having a clean house makes me feel amazing, and being able to film a video is really satisfying, or reading a book that I haven't read in a little while, or picking up my writing again is satisfying, or getting my workout in. But I would even beg to say that some of those things, not every single thing you love and feel satisfied by happens all at once. And some days can have those good things, and some days can have other good things going on. And it's not like it's good or bad, it just means your life is made up of these different good things. And that's okay. So, I don't know. That really spoke to me. And I've just been very curious about loneliness and what it means to be a neighbor to someone and what it means to be a friend. And I just feel like that's been really my focus. And I've just been less worried about checking all my boxes, dotting all my I's for every other thing in my life. So it might mean I'm not doing certain things as much as I want or as frequently as I thought I could do. But again, the value of these other things are important, especially, again, relationships and treating people the way I would want to be treated. It's really important to me. And I just think about how, when I leave the planet, I just want to be someone who has left a positive impression around on those around me. And it might be through my creative pursuits or the job I have, but I also want it to be in the relationships I have that just were there because, of love and friendship, not necessarily because of something I had an output towards. I do feel like my ASMR is something where I get to help people, and I truly find joy in that and satisfaction. So this is something that has really helped me give to others, because I feel that there has been a lot of love and connection I've been wanting to give for a long time after, that fallout I had a few years ago. And this was my way of giving back to the people without necessarily, having to do the physical, like, friend dates or anything. This is definitely a different way to connect with people. But yeah, I think that I'm going to continue to find ways to serve others in my community, especially in this day and age, to foster and nurture the relationships around me and to show them that I care. And I don't expect a lot in return. I think I do expect to be treated similarly or want that, but I don't hold it against anyone. And I'm old enough now to see that the people who want to be in my life will will also make an effort, and I'm not afraid of like overexerting myself for other people. I think at this point in time I'm not in danger of doing that, but yeah, I think that I'm just here to share the love I have, that I have more to give, and I'm excited to see where it takes me, and to be that source of neighborliness and friendship other people might need, because I know what that feels like when you need it. There's definitely someone playing like music loudly right now, so it's getting a little tougher to get through, but maybe I'll finish this leaf and we'll wrap it up. But I know I thought I would finish this with you, but I feel like I've just been chatting away and only got so far to 3 leaves. Not too bad, but yeah. I would say if you're someone who is curious about building more friendships and community in your life, my biggest tip is to join like a meetup group or a group locally as like the first step, and try to find a specific group. And by specific, I mean as many similar interests as you can find. It's going to help you find like-minded people, and you're going to have an easier time connecting with people off the bat versus if it was like kind of a free-for-all social event where you kind of don't really know and you have to kind of get through those awkward first conversations, and then it might be someone you're not really interested in. So I would say try to find groups with like very specific interests. Like maybe it's women in their 20s who like to walk in the park, or a book club, but a specific book that you like. That was what worked for me. And it was a free group to join. So definitely recommend. Obviously going out to eat and like meet people can cost a little bit, but it's usually not too bad with local groups. Anyway, yeah, I would recommend joining a group. Then you get to like see that group routinely, make a few connections, and then reach out to specific people in who you connect with one-on-one, get their phone number or their Instagram, and just ask them to coffee, a meal, or to the park on a walk. If you don't want to be like sitting across the table from someone and feeling bored, you could bring a card game or tarot cards or something like an activity you both could enjoy. But that also doesn't like cost a lot of money, as that could be a deterrent for people. And I would just encourage to be cognizant of people and their, income levels. Not everyone is going to be able to like go to specific, like they're gonna just be in different places. Like not everyone wants to be dropping a ton of money going to expensive restaurants every weekend kind of thing. There's some people who love that. If you're gonna connect with a variety of people with a variety of walks of life, I would just suggest being mindful of that and offering options that could work for anyone on any of the spectrums. Because I also think it's important to make connections across different, walks of life, old, young. So, maybe you volunteer somewhere with different age groups, like children or seniors, and those people also need connection as well. So volunteer groups are also a great way to get involved in your community for causes that you really, care about, and for helping people in need. There's always an option for that as well. So that would be my suggestion, is just find a group. It's a little less intense than like maybe asking out a stranger for coffee. You kind of get like the lay of the land. And then when you start to connect with more people, you can feel that confidence to ask them one-on-one or smaller groups if you want. And yeah, I would just say allow people to, get to know you as much as you want to get to know them, and don't be afraid if they, maybe they're not as connected to you. I think I always felt like a little scared that I would get edged out by other people, like other people would connect more with other people in my life, or, I'd be kind of the third wheel or something. I just don't think I'm as afraid of that anymore or care too much. I think for me, I don't mind being just a good neighbor to someone. I don't necessarily need to be someone's best friend if they don't necessarily see me that way. I think I just have like the understanding and wisdom now to understand that having a best friend is just for a very special few people in different seasons of your life, and then the just being a good general friend and neighbor to people is really honestly what we need more of, right? I think we might need more of that right now than making people our absolute best friends that like hold all our secrets. Absolutely love a best friend moment, but I just feel like we could all use a little bit more just kind of the general friendships right now. And even just like neighborly, like I don't even feel like I'm connected to my neighbors at all, and that's not their fault, and maybe not even my fault, but it's definitely on me to like make those relationships happen if I want them to. So yeah, that's been a big lesson I'm learning is, again, if I want to be in a community, I want to have that dream life of a very connected community. I need to be someone who shows up for other people and hosts and offers space for them to just have companionship with me. And yeah, being an adult makes it a little trickier because you're not in school and have the ability to just kind of be around people. But I do think being an adult allows you so much more power to control your boundaries, or kind of even with the spaces you get to partake in, and also you get to spread your wings and be involved in a variety of spaces instead of just maybe a few. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to share, where I've been, what I've been involved in focusing on right now in my life, and I just wanted to share that with you while we did a little bit of crafting. And I'm proud of me almost finishing this autumnal scene. I don't know that I'll finish it right now with you, but I'm a lot closer than before. So I'll probably wrap up after this stitch here. There we go. And I'll let that hang out back there, but look how far we've come. We made a little bit of effort, and already it's forming further along than before. Yeah, it's starting to get a bit rowdy outside, so I'm going to end our session here. But thank you for listening and sewing with me, and I hope that you felt welcomed in this space and you feel relaxed, and yeah, I hope you're doing well, and may you enjoy the rest of the crafty season ahead of us. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next